Hey, I am pulled over at one of the city parks in the city that I work in, and I have something to show. An Apple display that goes with the Power Mac G4 and an airport. The airport didn't come with the AC adapter, but that's okay. It's really only display, but went and picked it up. I bought it off of eBay, but the seller wound up being in my city, and he offered me a G3 and a G4. And number one, the, what is it called? The studio display for the Mac. I think it's 17-inch screen. I think it might be the same size, or it's around the same size as what I have. But this is what would have come with a Power Mac G4, or one of the possibilities that would have come. Let me turn this around, actually. ABC. No well, you can see Pantera. There she is. Okay. So is this ADC? Indeed it is. So is this DVI? Looks like it probably is. ADC maybe is more modern. There we go. That worked. You're lovely. And the power, of course. That's important. Alrighty. Oh, yep. We do have a power LED. Baby. Thank you. There it is. Ooh, that's very, well, you can see it, thankfully, but it's very dim. But there's a brightness LED here. Oh, well, there we go. There's the mouse. Let's see if the USB in the back works. That's much better. Now I can actually see. So yeah, that's a 1280 by 1024. I think the monitor I had only did 1024 by 768. So this is better than the monitor I had, actually. I have been having problems with my Power Mac G4 where the desktop crashes, and I tried to repair it a couple times, but so far no crashes. It does look like one of the all-in-ones that Apple made back in the day, but nope, just a monitor. So yes, this is what was happening, and it looks like happened again. I knew that this was happening, and I have a fix coming. It totally freezes up, but I have a new hard drive coming, and that could possibly be the thing that is causing this freezing. But this monitor works, so awesome. Yeah, the monitor looks really good. This guy that I got it from, he had a basement full of all kinds of Macs. He had a couple G5s that I saw. He had an old actual Macintosh. It could have been a Mac. It wasn't necessarily the original because I can't tell the difference just by looking at it from like 6 feet away. But it was, the CRT type with floppy drive, so that was cool to see. This is called a Apple Airport, and it's basically a Wi-Fi router. I didn't even notice that, but it does have a spot for dial-up, so you could have had dial-up Wi-Fi through this thing. But it has Ethernet also, of course. This came, and he told me that it would. It came without the power cord for it. But it might be something that I can look up and get like a replacement for. But it doesn't super matter anyway because this Power Mac G4 cannot go on the real internet anyway. If you've never tried to get on the internet on an old computer, old computers can't go onto HTTPS, which all of the websites are HTTPS now. So you can't go on anything except for Google or proxy websites. So there is a proxy website I can use. So the reason I bought this was it's $5. So it's really just a display piece. I would not have spent a lot of money on this because it is pretty much useless. If I really wanted to go on the internet on this computer, I could just use an Ethernet cord. So this computer at this moment has a 10 gigabyte IDE Western Digital Caviar, I think it is. Yeah, this is what I'm getting. You can probably barely see that, but it's the application Finder has unexpectedly quit, and Finder is the desktop. So yeah, all of my streams are done on this plastic table. Hopefully that'll be changing in the not the distant future, but the close future, the near future, I guess this is how you say that. Because I am working on getting a desk and a place to put my a desk in another room where I can actually have a setup that is not so redneck. I have another IDE drive coming that's 40 gigs, and I bought a USB to IDE adapter so I can use my Linux machine to pre-format the drive for it, and hopefully it'll work. What's this? So I bought the monitor, and I bought the airport, and the guy says, hey, so are you interested in Macs? I got a couple more in the basement. You want to check them out? And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. How much would you want for them? He says, oh, you could just take them. And I was like, what? What? So, yes, this is a second Power Mac G4. This one closes and opens better. Let's take a look at what's in here. So he told me, and so I knew, there's no processor in here. I'm not sure if the processor I have in my other one will work. There is a old PRAM battery. It still has, I believe this is AGP for graphics. And then I'm guessing these are probably PCI, not PCIe, but PCI slots. It does not have a hard drive. The hard drive would be right here. It doesn't have the sled for the hard drive either. That's okay. I got this for free. Has no RAM, but has spots for 4. It has this in the same spot, but this I am pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the RAM, the CPU socket is in a different spot. So instead of like a modern CPU where you put it down into a square thing, this is what the sockets look like on Power Mac G4 logic boards. So this is basically just a case, but it does have the CD drive, DVD drive in it still. And one thing I'm kind of hype about that I didn't even notice until I got it home, it's got the zip drive. Mine, the one that I have that's working, well, kind of right now, doesn't have a zip drive. So I have a zip drive now. The zip drive, not super useful, but it's cool to have, to say I have a zip drive now. Yeah, I think this is probably the first time I've seen a zip drive in real life. I don't remember ever seeing. I never had one at home. Kind of a useless medium. Apple went all in on it, and it wound up not winning. So yep, we got IPA 91% and some Windex for the outside. No idea what I'm going to do with this yet. Because it doesn't have a CPU, and the CPUs are they're not inexpensive. They're not like, they don't cost as much as modern CPUs for sure, but they're not cheap to get. And I don't really need a second one, except that this case is like a little bit better condition than the one I have. in that the latch works better. So this is also does not have a graphics card in it, and there is no onboard graphics. Yeah, there's no onboard graphics. Had to check to make sure I wasn't lying. There's also no what's it called? Phone line jack on this one. My other one does have a phone line. Oh, what am I doing? Don't use Windex is probably fine, but IPA is better. I'm going to take out the PRAM battery. It doesn't have a processor in it anyway, but they're known to leak these half AA's. Apple used this exact model of half AA's as CMOS or PRAM batteries for a long time, and they are not the best. It is very annoying, I think, and I don't know if it was common back then, that there is no integrated graphics chip on this board. So you have to have a GPU. Yeah, it looks decent for a rig that was in someone's basement, for sure. Thinking about it, I definitely could not have afforded to pay whatever the Macintosh he had. I could not have afforded to pay a fair price for it, but it would have been nice to at least look at. Because if I have ever seen a original Macintosh or whatever that Macintosh was, it has been a very, very, very long time. So I should have said, "Hey, what's that?" But that's okay. I got two freaking. Spoiler. Oops. Yeah, there's another one of these that I'll show you in a second. So the inside's pretty clean now. And yep, there's the front with the zip drive. I'm definitely going to take that zip drive out and put it in. And this is a DVD RAM drive. I've never seen one of these. I don't understand what the difference between a DVD ROM and DVD RAM is, but this is DVD RAM. And here's the back. These are pretty heavy, but so were pretty much all PCs back then. Power in, power to the monitor. If you wanted to do that, you didn't have to. Yeah, this is where the phone line would be if it had one, but it doesn't. This looks like it's still USB 1.0 probably. A couple fire wires, Ethernet, and sound. DVD-ROM and RAM is like CDR and CDR-W. Huh. Read-only, rewritable. Oh, okay. Huh. I did a video looking through a catalog of how much these were. This was probably around $1,500 to $2,000 back in the day. Wild. This is not a Power Mac G4. It is a... can't see either way. This is a Power Mac G3. You can barely see it in there. All my computers. I got to show you this. I can't clean the dust off. Look at those little kitty paw prints. He told me he had cats, and he's like, I hope you're not allergic. And I'm like, nope, I got two myself. Yeah, this Power Mac G3, I am not going to clean off those paw prints yet, but I will clean off this. So this is the color they came in. I think it's called Bondi Blue. Or blue and white, I think, too, is what they called it. So I think that you could have gotten an iMac G3 in this color. Those are the famous CRT all-in-ones that Apple came out with back in the day. They're really pretty and they're iconic, but I don't want to deal with CRTs anymore. Well, I never really dealt with them, as far as fixing them. But if things go wrong with them, that's not something I ever want to deal with, especially if it's part of the computer. So, yeah, not really interested in getting a iMac G3, even how pretty they are. Okay, so I've not seen the inside of this, but let me show you. So, Yeah, clean out the back here. Oh, so what do we have? This is literally my first time looking at this. I just said, oh yeah, you don't look a gift horse in the mouth is a famous saying, idiom or whatever. And yeah, I didn't look a gift horse in the mouth. I just said, oh yeah, thank you. So what do we have? 2 Firewire. This bottom one looks kind of jank. I don't have anything that takes Firewire anyway, so. Phone line, Ethernet. I think that this is called ADB, Apple Desktop Bus, which was their version of PS2 as far as keyboards and mouses. But I should be able to use these USB for keyboard and mice if I ever get this one running. And sound. But this is what I noticed looking at the back of this. Kind of sad, but it's true. No expansion slots are populated, which means it's missing its video card. The video cards for these, it's almost the same one that's in my G4, but it's a PCI instead of AGP. So yeah, this drippage here kind of looks like soda, maybe coffee. Won't come off. You can see the G3 better than I can actually. Yeah, that's cool how they did that. They took this design thing of the G and number away for G4 and brought it back for G5. Okay, here's the front. And unfortunately, it does not have a second drive. Like I said, this is the first time I'm looking at it. I think that these might have come with floppies. I'll have to look. I'm not sure. They might have come with floppy drives. Let's see what that optical drive is in a second, or even if there is one in there. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Yep, it's a DVD-ROM drive. And, what is that? Doesn't smell bad, so hopefully it's not capacitors. Sorry for my bald head being in the shot. Because apparently capacitors smell like rotten fish or something. But yeah, that's not great. Could just be coffee. And if you are watching this for whatever reason and never cleaned a computer before, the reason you use IPA on certain things is because it dries very quickly and it doesn't leave a residue. So that's why it's good for cleaning certain parts of computers. It doesn't clean quite as well as Windex for like the outside, but otherwise it's better than Windex because it's not as corrosive, I guess. So there we go. Okay, moment of truth. What is in here? Is there anything in here? I'm excited. One way or another, if there's nothing in here, it's still exciting to just see. All right, 1, 2, 3. Nope, there's nothing in here, but that's okay. So we have PCI, I think these are all PCI. Maybe this is PCI extended. I'll have to look it up. Thankfully, it did not have a, what's it called, PRAM battery in it. So that's not, didn't leak because it doesn't have one in it. Has no RAM in it. The PowerMac G4 takes PC100, so PC100 is still, actually, I don't know how it's so readily available, but it's still readily available for a relatively decent price. So I shouldn't have any problems getting any RAM if this is PC100. Yeah, I've never seen one of these up close. There's a Motorola chip right here. Come on, focus for me, please. Doesn't want to focus. Not sure what that is, but this is obviously where the CPU would go, and it looks more like a regular CPU as opposed to what the Power Mac G4 has. This looks more like what you would expect from an older computer. We have, are these both Ultra ATA? No, we have Ultra ATA and IDE connectors. Ultra ATA, that's not something I'm familiar with. I think that's the precursor to SATA because SATA is serial ATA, whatever ATA stands for. But I'm not totally sure. It's a motherboard connector, right? Yep. And everything else looks like it's Molex. It looks a lot like the Power Mac G4 inside. It's, I think, possibly slightly smaller. This is not something I've ever done in-depth research about because I've never had to. So now I have to. This is a Yosemite board. I remember that being a thing. This could run Red Faction. Not as well as a Power Mac G4, but it could. So that might be an interesting thing to try. Trying to get Red Faction to run on this. I'll have to price out all the parts and see. I don't know. I also don't know how much RAM this could take because the Power Mac G4 can go up to 1.5 gigs. I kind of doubt that the G3 could go up that high. But maybe 1 gig of RAM. I'm not sure how much it costs. It's been a while since I bought the RAM for the G4. And I'm not sure what the CPUs cost for this. So I'm not sure if any Apples back in the day had onboard graphics. Like, is this something that was unique to the Power Macs? Or did they always not have onboard graphics? It does not have the sled where the hard drive would go. I think that these had the same thing, like it would be right here, but it's not in there. It feels like I just spent a whole bunch of karma points because this is like, I've looked at these on eBay and thought, they look pretty cool. It's kind of like looking at cars on the internet. It's like, oh yeah, that's a really cool looking car. I'm never going to spend that much to get it, but it's nice to look at it. But now I have one. The second G4, I don't know if I'll keep, but I think I might keep this one, and this might even replace my Power Mac G4 because, especially if there is a floppy drive that I can get that would go in here, this would work even better for some of the classic games that I have. Not Red Faction, but like Oregon Trail, Yukon Trail, stuff like that. This would work better because this is older, and those games are still older than this is. So, interesting. Good day. I picked up the computers, picked up the monitor in the airport, and I was in an area, like, I obviously this was still in my state because, it was still in my state because I went to go pick it up. But I was in an area I've never spent a lot of time in. So I had no idea where I was when I left, and I forgot to plug my phone into my infotainment. So I just drove in a direction that I knew would get me somewhere where I was somewhat familiar with things. And then I stopped at a local park, and I was just like, wow. And like I said, this is the first time I actually looked at what was inside of this G3. Really cool. Well, I think that's it for now. It's 7 o'clock. My wife should be getting home soon. I think, when is the hard drive, I think, is getting here sometime next week for the Power Mac G4 to hopefully fix the crashing issue. I'm hoping that that's what it is. The CMOS battery is also dead, but it's been dead for a while, so I don't think that's what's causing the crashing. And everything else has been constant in it. So the hard drive is old and has had a lot of information put on it and taken off it and then put back on it again. So it's possible that the hard drive is just trying to tap out. So hopefully that's all that it is. Hopefully I can get that fixed. And yeah, I'm going to, after I close out the stream here, I'm going to look at G3 parts, see if I can get this thing running. Should be interesting, and I'll bring you along for the ride. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subbing, the guy who subbed. And I will be back with more computer videos. And like that guy said, I actually thought this week about doing a video of all of my computers and what I use each one of them for. So that might be in the card. I really want to do now that I know that my gaming computer actually works, I kind of want to show off how jank it is and how ridiculous it is. I don't suggest doing it. If you want a gaming computer and you are of modest means, or have a decent job, halfway decent job, just save up and buy a new one. There's been a lot of heartache trying to fix old machines, and a lot of, this is proprietary, that's proprietary, this is proprietary. And yeah, never thought I'd have. I bought a Sawzall for the gaming computer I have. I didn't have a Sawzall. Well, I had one in the past, but it broke. I bought a Sawzall to make that computer fit that GPU. And hopefully you'll see that in a bit. Thanks for watching, though.